years. And he was 8 years old when he lived here. And she heard him say that, so of course she yanked him out and talked to him. And she asked him what his the scariest experience he ever had in this house, and he said that he was running through the house bouncing a ball, and it was aggravating his mom. And his mom said, take that ball upstairs, put it away. So he, as a defiant little 8-year-old, bounced the ball the whole way up to his room, and gets up to the hallway, and a woman greets him in the hallway in a long black dress, her hair pulled back into a bun, and she looks at him, she says, "Give me that ball." And he hands it to her. He didn't know what to do, never seen this woman before in his life. She turns around, walks into his bedroom. He peeks around the corner, the ball's bouncing on the floor, and she's nowhere to be found.
Wow.
And so that kind of coincides with this picture to me, because I mean, the long black dress, the hair up in the bun, it is the by far best full-bodied apparition I've ever seen caught on camera anywhere.
About this part. So, Gary, actually, I've been up there quite a few times and experienced Gary a lot. Him and I have sat down and fussed at each other before.
So is that him?
It's probably him, yeah.
That was a yell, apparently.
Sorry,
That was-
Gary.
That was acknowledgement.
That was perfect timing. You stopped recording, didn't you?
No, I'm recording.
My voice is still going.
Perfect.
Alright, well, alright. So, I went up there and we talked, and he likes to comment on girls' lipstick.
Okay.
He likes to, let's start where it began. The trunk was donated, I think, back in like 2013 or something like that, and it was put at the front door, and all they saw on the trunk was 1890s trunk, and they did more looking into it, and they found out that it was an actor's trunk, and that it was something that a person of high class would have if they were to travel and things like that. They would need that sort of dresser, the one that could pull out and all that stuff. So it is all pulled out, like, as you could see. So the attachment that we have gotten through one of the normal ghost hunting teams that comes here, the Brooksville Pit, he's caught Gary is the name. And Gary, now imagine, I would say, him in life as being like just one of those, muscle little man sitting in the back of the bar, just waiting for that girl to come by to, disrespect her or whatever.
Most of us picture him like looking in the back, like back in the day, sitting in the back of a brothel, cigar in one hand, whiskey in the other. Hitting on the waitresses, grabbing them, pulling them on his lap, probably. That was the type of guy Gary seems to be.
Yeah, that's what he seems to.
He's very fresh with the women, very dominant. The women are beneath him.
He's a misogynist.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly how he is. And he's talked about sex, he's talked about his appendages, he's talked about, all kinds of stuff on EVPs, and he can get real nasty. Him and Bonnie do not get along. She stays out of his space, he stays out of hers. He's actually slapped her full hand in the past. He's known to pinch, hit, scratch people very often. If you get anything on EVPs, cursing or just being nasty or rude, it's him.
Okay.
Now, did he come with the trunk, or is he the guy that comes in that little crawl space?
He came with the trunk.
We believe he definitely came.
That's when his presence started to be felt around the
Do you know
now
what year?
He's famous more.
He said what, around 2013? Yeah.
Okay, because there used to be Mr. Nasty in the cubbyhole. Not in the long room with the lights, in the cubbyhole. Walk in the door, look at that wall, the cubbyhole. Mr. Nasty used to be in there.
I know Mr. Nasty has always been associated with Gary.
Yeah, I think it's the same guy.
No, because that was 2005 and the trunk showed up in 13.
I don't know. You
I
said
don't
it
know.
was
Can you
if that was-
verify?
it might have been earlier than that. Could have been 2006. I don't want to be like totally.
Okay.
I should have probably.
Yeah,
said
I don't
I'm
know the
more
year
of
it
a-
showed up. I just know it was before my time. That's all I
Yeah.
know.
We
It
have to
was-
ask, so all this banging we've been hearing consistently up there, is there anything that could explain it of a wind or something? We have to ask that.
What about the plexiglass up there? Could that be
Could
rattling?
something be,
No, I've never in the
That looked like it
5,
was
almost
caulked.
6 years, I've never heard it rattle or anything. And that's why I said for the past, I'd say, what are we, March? So January, late January is when I started to hear the banging and stuff. It's been consistent.
okay,
Yeah, it's
so
been
you've
here
heard it
tonight.
too?
Yes.
With us not.
That's what I was telling them earlier, that it was so bad one night that I was here with a group that I literally, everybody else was upstairs and I came downstairs. There was nobody downstairs whatsoever. And I searched the whole bottom floor because I swore somebody was here. Because the banging was just that
So what we
bad,
keep
so.
hearing.
Yes,
Yeah.
and prior to, like I said, around that time, late January, I had never heard, not like this anyway. I mean, you hear a bang here and a bang there every once in a while, but not
This
like
has
it's
been
been
really
lately.
consistent since the day
Yeah.
we got here.
Well, it did stop for a while.
No, I know, but then
But
it
yeah.
started again.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
timing for questions and stuff were.
Interesting.
Mhm.
I mean, the only thing is that I noticed when I'm up there is sometimes I will hear owls hooting, and they do live up in the trees. And that's the only thing
Okay.
that really would
There-
explain away.
And again, it's an old house, and unfortunately, it, we
Creaks.
do
Well, yeah, we
get, well,
heard
not
all the
only the
creaks and
creaks,
things
but we
like
do
that.
get critters in here sometimes.
Yeah.
But you can tell the scurrying of a rat
Oh,
or
yeah, no,
a
this is-
squirrel or something
this
like
is-
that. This is, yeah.
That's me, by the way,
This is,
Yeah.
right? But
that
that
was
bang bang,
very-
it's
yeah.
a very definite rhythm, and it
Yes.
hasn't altered at all.
Yes, exactly. And you can tell it's not an animal or critter or something that got in here.
But it's
Yeah,
been the
that
same
was
rhythm
that was
throughout.
just so funny because when we were in the attic, there was a question and there was knock knock, but it came from down this way.
It was.
So now that we were here and we asked a question, we got a knock knock and it was up here. No, oh wait a minute. We're chasing him.
It's probably good old Gare Bear. Acres and homesteaded it, that the state would give you 160 acres.
Mhm.
The man who actually did that for this initial property, I do not remember his name, but I know there was somebody else who did it for the 160 acres. That's when John May stepped in about 1855, 56 time. It wasn't John May who actually homesteaded the 160 acres. He came in and purchased them. I don't know for how much, but so it was 160 acres. So it's pretty much all of downtown Brooksville. He built the first 4-room house, which, like I said, was the parlor below, the formal dining room, and these 2 bedrooms right here, and then of course that portion of the attic. They never included that as a 5th room. It was just a 4-room house. He had his wife Morena, and they had 2 daughters. And I don't know the daughters' names, but they married and moved out of the house. We don't find their presence or anything here, so. But anyway, 2 years after he built the first 4-room house, John May died of consumption or tuberculosis.
Didn't I ask that? Okay.
Yeah,
Ah,
around somebody.
I had tuberculosis.
So,
That was up when we were up in the attic.
that was the attic.
yes. So Morena stayed on with her 2 daughters and ran the whole plantation for about 7 years after John died. John was only 25, so they were very young at the time. After the Civil War ended is when Frank Saxon came into the picture. Now Frank was, as Jen was saying, that he fought for the Civil War, of course, for the South. He
Okay.
was taken prisoner of war, I think it was in Kentucky, and then they held him in Georgia. Well, when the Civil War ended, they just opened up their doors and freed all their prisoners. So Frank actually walked from Atlanta, Georgia, back to Brooksville.
Wow.
And after that, he became this huge local hero. So he played a huge part in the community of Brooksville, in the building, actually, of the town of Brooksville. He was clerk of court, he was postmaster, and he played so many different roles. He was also part of a vigilante group of about 12 men who tried to bring, I guess, white justice would be the right terms to put it back then. One of the main things that they know that well, one of the things that we talked about that they did, is that there was a rumor that a black man was courting a white woman. So the vigilante group burst into his house in the middle of the night, drove him out and hung him from a tree. And after that, some of the members of the group started dying mysteriously, randomly. And actually, one of them was on the front doorstep of this house. It was a ride-by shooting. A man drove by on horseback and shot him dead as he was coming here to see Frank. So
Okay.
we have that. So Frank and Morena, they, well, I didn't even say, he ended up marrying Morena, of course. He came here, and after he courted her, married her, moved in here, the house and the property became his. She got pregnant. She had a son first. The son was born very sick, and he lived to be about 3 weeks old and died. After that, Morena got pregnant again. That's when she had Jessie May. And Jessie May, shortly after Jessie May was born, Morena ended up dying with childbed fever.
Okay.
So now you have Frank the Bachelor, his newborn daughter, and Morena's 2 daughters living here. He ended up marrying somebody else. Her name was Tallulah. And the house wasn't grand enough for Miss Tallulah because it was only the 4-room house at the time. So he built the Saxon Manor, which, are you guys going out on 50?
Viva, do you know how we're getting home?
Anyway, it's a few blocks up on the left-hand side. There's this huge white colonial beautiful house that's called the Saxon Manor. He built that for him and Tallulah. They went on to have 7 sons, but never another daughter.
Okay.
He lived over there, raised his sons over there, died over there. We find him here. We actually have 2 more than 2, but 2 almost identical full-bodied apparitions that were actually taken 15 years apart.
Wow.
We have them in the book downstairs if you guys want to see that.
Yeah, we'll check it on the way out.
And it is, I mean, if it's not him, I don't know who it is, but it looks just like him. We have pictures of him downstairs too, like real pictures of him when he was alive. After he moved over there, the house was actually sold, I believe it was 2 more times, and that's another period that we do not have information on.
Okay.
And it was a short period though, maybe 5 years, in between the time that Frank left and Dr. Stringer came into play. And Dr. Stringer came in 1880. Now, other than what we've already told you about James and, him maybe housing terminal patients up there, we don't know a whole lot of, tragic stuff or anything in their lives. I do know that there were 2 generations of Dr. Stringers that ran practices out of this house. So it was senior and junior. And
Do you know where they were educated?
I do not.
Okay.
I don't. I want to say, I read up on senior. I want to say it was in, I think it was in Florida, but in the South. I know he lived in the South, like Tampa area.
Too early for USF, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe he was educated somewhere else, but I know he did have a practice around Tampa area at some point.
I think that's right. Didn't we see something about that? Well, anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was before
All
he
roads
got his
lead to
practice
Tampa.
here, so yeah, right. Yeah, then that's about it. The Stringer family had it in there. They had that. They kept the house for several years, from 1880 to, like I said, about 1950.
Okay. And then it got sold.
It got sold to Dr. Henley, another doctor, but he used it as a rental property.
Okay.
And then it was somewhere in the late 70s, I believe it was condemned. They were actually going to tear the house down.
Okay.
And that's when the
Heritage
Association,
Museum. Okay.
stepped in and rescued her.
Okay.
Like that.
So this is the May Stringer attic. We are doing a grid test. If there's anybody here, can you please move through the area that we have lit up with the grid?
Any tinging on the voice recorder is me putting away my stand.
Okay.
I have a probably good question.
Okay.
Right where I think it's a chair. Headboard right in front of the window.
Mm-hmm.
It's a chair, rocking chair.
Rocking chair. There's like that whole section that doesn't have any lights. Is that because it doesn't block my nose?
I think it's being blocked by the trunk.
Okay.
Where is the grid sitting?
On on top of that laptop that she has on the ground by Brandy.
Okay, yeah, I would think it's probably being blocked by the trunk.
Okay. I'm moving.
The shadow was Carissa.
Yes, I'm blocking the light.
Gary, can you walk through the grid by your trunk? If we don't have evidence, we can't tell people you're here.
So right after you said that question, I heard a
I thought that was outside though. Don't they have some?
I know you were going down. I just wasn't sure if you were going down into your own power or
Yeah,
not.
I just want to
I
bring
was
the
wondering
energy.
if
I'm
she's going
feeling
to
like I have to ground the energy a little bit.
Can you move the ball or touch it? Make it light up, please. All you have to do is a really light touch. Can you do that, please? We'd love to see some light.
Touch the ball. You can use your foot.
Yeah, you kick the ball if you want.
Was that outside?
I think that was outside. I heard that too.
So
the kid's voice.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it was a kid's voice like yelling, and I'm like, okay, we're talking to a kid, but we're also hearing a lot of outside noises, and I'm trying to figure out what is what. If the ball doesn't interest you, do not let me walk away without this, you guys. I have two things that you can also touch and play with. I have a little reindeer if you want to touch it.
Turn on the flashlight.
And if you want to, I have a little dinosaur here that if you squeeze it, it roars. Are they in shot, Viva? No chance. So, you can play with the reindeer, you can squeeze the dinosaur, or you can play with the ball if you want.
I saw something go across the screen, but it could just be dust.
I also just scooted back.
Oh, this was up here, I think.
Ah.
I'll have to review it
Yes,
later.
on the screen.
Okay.
What's the tall green?
Would you be more interactive with this on the second floor?
The energy's all on the second floor.
Gary's leaving us alone, huh?
Might be, maybe we're chasing sounds on the second floor.
You may have to do that when I come back out.
Okay.
Well, if I go down, I don't come back up.
I understand.
Okay. So we are checking the second floor for any doors that might be open. We heard some knocking sounds.
Knocking sounds. One sound sounds like a door opening and closing.
Is there anybody with us? It's kind of fun. Old.
There's a breeze right here.
Okay. I wonder if that breeze would be... Oh, boy. Well, the window is registering at 68.
But there's also a staircase right
Yeah,
there.
there's a stairwell. Okay.
But the bridge
68.
itself
Okay.
was kind of like here-ish. It felt like it was going this way and not this way.
Well, I've got a pressure on my head. I definitely feel like
Oh, I'm not surprised at that. While we were upstairs,
See if
somebody kept happening to me.
Now that sounded like one of the doors opening downstairs, and it sounds like it has a security camera with it. Is there anybody down here with us? If so, can you manifest for the camera? Well, nothing to really indicate the knocking, is there?
No. The knocking, I think, was on the 3rd floor.
I think so too.
The door and the opening, I assumed it was on this floor because I didn't think we'd hear if it was on the 1st floor. But you know what? They did have that front door open.
Do we want to go? Do you want me to go? Well, no, we need to go downstairs. Do we want to call down and check?
We need to, yeah. I'll just hold it right there.
Here we go. Verify.
Okay, these stairs
They're fun, aren't they?
are so fun. Hi, did you guys just close the front door like 5 minutes ago?
Yeah, not even 5 minutes ago. It was like, yeah.
Okay, so
No.
that's probably what we heard then.
I don't think so.
When you're in the attic, can you hear this door open and close?
Only if it's loud, like bang.
Can you do us a favor and just do like a test open and close? I'll just get the sound, just to be sure. And then if we can keep it closed, that'd be great. We've been
We're
hearing
chasing sounds.
we've been hearing some knocking upstairs, and I honestly don't think this would carry, but let's make sure.
Well, knocking wasn't, definitely wasn't us.
And the,
Yeah.
the knocking wasn't you guys. It's the one was the door opening and closing. That's what we. went
Does
in
it-
trouble.
Do you have a security alarm with it?
Yeah, we do it.
Yeah,
Beep,
it
beep, beep, beep.
Okay, there was no beeping.
Open the door and then.
That wasn't it.
That's not it?
That
Yay!
was not it.
Okay, thank you.
So it had to have been. Those two doors on the 2nd floor. Do
They're
those
locked,
open
aren't
and close, or do they?
Stay locked.
Okay.
They stay locked.
Were you in the attic?
Yeah.
We were in the attic and we heard something.
Wasn't the door up there that close?
Don't think
Not
so.
from one of us.
It's open.
No, we both been down here. We haven't.
Yeah, no, we've been down.
Okay. Yeah, whoever it is pretty knocky up there. A lot of. So I think one sound might have been something natural. It almost sounded like it was something outside, but the others were absolutely in that.
That was
little
definitely
room.
door opening and closing inside the house. Thank you.
Okay, or knocking, whatever it happened to have been.
Get some good stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna try.
It is, it's active tonight.
Oh, good.
Okay, so that answers most of our questions. Except for the
Okay.
fact of what in the world was
What was it? Oh, wow.
oh. Well, that explains.
Okay, we might need to document that just for. Okay, so this is the 2nd floor, but wow. That's a big